We got a victory episode, folks. Another victory episode. I'm excited about it. Let's get into it. Before I even dive into the game, what I liked, a lot of stuff I liked, what I didn't like, don't really know if there was much. I'll say one thing right now. I'll start the episode off for my boys, Rico and Ron, Cincinnati's finest, Blockbuster Video alumni. Ron had silver hair at one time. Rico's done so much stuff. But I'm going to say something to the two of you. I admit, a hell of a game called by Zach Taylor this week. I'm always one that I get on here and I bitch and complain. Every week, I always have something about Zach Taylor. Even last week, I admit, like I had my issues with him. But this week might have been the closest, if not even, it's by far the best, but it was closest that he's been. If he hasn't, like, I can't name anything right away off the top of my head to a perfect game called. And I have to do that. I got to be a man, you know? I'm the one on here every week with all my complaints about Zach Taylor. And this week, I have to give it to him. If I'm going to kick him while he's down, I'm going to give him his flowers as well. So, starting this episode off, to the Zach Taylor stands that are tuning in to see if I was going to do it. Not only am I going to do it, but I'm also going to start the episode off with saying Zach Taylor, arguably for the first time in my opinion, because we went to overtime last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever, however you want to call that. We went to overtime because of that stupid wide receiver passing stuff. So I don't, I complained about that. But this week, I have nothing to complain about, and I will give it to you guys. Zach Taylor called perhaps, not even perhaps, Zach Taylor 100% called the best game he's called all season, and he did it at the right time. So that being said, there you go. I'll come out. I'll say it. I'll give him the flowers. I told you I've been wanting to. I don't sit around. I want Zach Taylor to make me eat crow. This week, I had a little crow. Kind of like chicken tenders, but they were crow tenders. And as a Zach Taylor hater, he shut me up this week. So I'll lead the episode off with that. Let's dive into it, man. Folks, when you look up win streak in the Webster's Dictionary, as of Sunday evening, there is now a photo of the Jake Browning. Absolute dog again. Now, I hate to say I told you so, but I've been saying it. And, folks, dare I say, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid again. It's actually water. It's not Space Dust this time. So, first off, you don't get Joe Burrow's suite if you're a scrub. Joe Burrow said, my guy, you got swagger. You got a smoke show girlfriend. Here's the keys. If I had keys right there, that'd be really cool. Oh, here's Here's the keys, baby. Joey Burrow gave him the suite for the evening, afternoon, whatever it is. And I mean, guys, another solid performance. DJ Khaled voice, another one. 18 of 24, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Dog. So that brings him up this season 924 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 2 picks. My dude has as many rushing touchdowns as he does interceptions. And it's funny, it's fun to watch him play. And now if I'm the Bengals, I am figuring out every single way to bring him back next year. Because we dodged a bullet. Look, like I had the tongue-in-cheek comparisons when Burrow went down. I'll be honest, I was just trying to think of something funny so I can keep the podcast going. And I was like, this will be a fun bit to, you know, put to put Jake Browning on a Mount Rushmore. And, I was just having fun with it. And deep down, I even had the conversation with Andy and Aaron that episode about how we messed up. We didn't get a backup quarterback. And in this league, I mean, look at this season right now. I think there's only 2 teams in the whole I think there's only 2 teams in the entire NFL that still have a starting quarterback. I don't know. I'm sure the stats somewhere close to that. But a backup is so important to have. And when Burrow went down, I think we all were like, geez, like, why do we not have a backup quarterback? And I'll admit, I think it was Aaron said something about what's his name? Why am I Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is dog shit. Like literal dog shit. And I'm not just talking about football. Like, if I was Bill Cosby, I would have chose to be a shitty backup quarterback as my profession. Because then people would have forgot about all the other allegations. There are documentaries about Jameis Winston and shit he did to girls in college. But he's such a cringy, horrible backup quarterback that everyone forgets about that. What are we doing here? So I did hear people say, man, Jameis he'd fit nice with this Bengals squad. And now I'm happy to report he wouldn't. All right. We have a good backup quarterback, as we see, as all the numbers are showing, as we see every week. So we dodged a bullet big time, because we could have been, I mean, there are some teams. I mean, if the Browns didn't have a defense, they are, and then looking like a hero over there. And I mean, all right, it's kind of cool watching it. But nobody knew that this was coming. Like this level of a backup quarterback that we have. And now if I'm the Bengals, because I do think there are teams out there that have taken notice. Of course. I mean, it's the talk of the NFL. I think they've said the guy has the highest quarterback rating with all the starters since he's been starting. I don't know. It's up there. His stats are amongst the league leaders in the NFL since he's been playing. So, of course, like I say all the time, I'm a shitty fantasy football coach. I'm horrible. My team name in both leagues that I'm in now is basically a bye week, Wait, actually, I think I'm the bye week Bengals in one and basically a bye week in the other. I'm horrible. I'm shitty. I am not a good fantasy football coach. I love playing though. Like I love the, you know, just the thrill of it, the joy of it. And it like makes you like pay attention to football more, which is fun. But needless to say, I'm definitely not a reality football coach. But if my dumbass is like able to see like what Jake Browning's doing, you bet your sweet ass there's a team out there right now that has him locked in already. Multiple teams. And if I'm the Bengals, I'm trying to figure out a way to keep him. I mean, you're seeing look, I hate admitting this. Joe Burrow's been injured 2 of his 4 like, what is it, 2 of the 4, 2 of the 5 years that he's been our quarterback. We need a backup, and Jake Browning's our backup. Needless to say, it's almost a T. Higgins situation. He can go to another team right now and be QB1, and he's probably gonna get a bag, and he's gonna go. I mean, I'm not saying he's gonna get, like, something, but no offense to Prano, but if Daniel Jones got what he got, there's not a doubt in my mind that Browning's definitely gonna get paid somewhere. So, I hope we get to enjoy him for a few more seasons, but I'm pretty sure he's gone. Rightfully so, and I'm enjoying watching this. And look, I know that this could be another typical Bengals season where we come down to the final week and we don't get in and we pick in the 20s. And that won't be cool, but we've done it so many times. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. But I will say this. Like I said last Sunday, regardless of what happens, Jake Browning and Zach Taylor's coaching has me excited about football for another week in mid-December without Joe Burrow on a win streak. I can't say I saw this coming. So, yeah, kudos. I could talk all day about Jake Browning, as I've done, as I've, made silly videos in the past, but now I'm being legit. Like, he's a problem for some people. So, let's talk about other things. Oh, my brother's guy, AJ McCarron, the guy who some people were saying that the Bengals were dumb for starting Jake Browning over him. We got an AJ McCarron sighting, and that was great. That was great. Looked really good. Came in for one play, had -1 passing yards. So good job, Gavin. Way to call that one. And the run game, all of a sudden, the run game was implemented. And look what happened. Who would have known? We did it again. And we won again. I'm noticing a pattern here. Are you trying to say that if you can run the ball, you can win a football game? Things are changing. Things are changing, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Joe Mixon, 79 in the touchdown. And you gotta, think Joe Mixon's legs should be pretty fresh. I mean, he ran the ball, I think, 6 or 7 times the entire first 10 weeks. So he's got some fresh legs. And congrats and hats off to Chase Brown. 105 total yards. More importantly, Chase Brown on his touchdown. Second in the league, fastest a player has ran on the field this season. clocked at 22.05 miles per hour. You can't even drive in a school zone that fast. That's how fast this dude's running? I mean, do we have a two-headed monster that's starting to come alive in that backfield? And yeah, where is and Chris Evans is around there somewhere. He's a Michigan guy, but he's with us now, so I can see past that. What else, man? We had look, here's the thing. We had receivers this game, and this is what I love to see. We had receivers with their longest catch of the game, 54, Chase Brown, 46 yards, T. Higgins, which that could there's one thing I didn't like. All right, there it is. And if that's the thing I'm complaining about, then it was a damn good game. Man, if Browning would have hit him in stride, he's gone. That's 6. And Joe Mixon got a 45-yarder. So, it's cool to see the deep ball being implemented, like and I know some of those weren't exactly deep throws, but those screens are working. And if you would tell me that before that game that you're gonna have a receiver have a 54-yard catch, a 46-yard catch, and a 45-yard catch, of course you're gonna think it was Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, 3 receptions for 29 yards. And I'm not even mad about it. I'm excited about that. The Bengals played such a dominant game that that's all Jamar Chase had, and look, that game got close. I think it got tied. It was tied 14-14 at the end of the half. But I was beyond confident. Like, I saw what was going on. The pick six, that sucked. But if you look at it, our defense gave up 1 touchdown. That's it. Our defense gave up 1 touchdown. Insane. So, as you guys can see, I'm a little fired up. Um, I loved what I saw Sunday, and I don't think, you know, I think it's a launching pad, dude. I really do. And so a couple other things. Get you out of here quicker. Me and Andy's discussion today. I think it was in our group chat with me, Andy, and Prano. Andy says to me, you're really starting to think you guys are gonna make a run, aren't you? You know what I told Andy? I said, Andy, does the name Nick Foles ring a bell? So I'm pretty sure that backup did something so it can be done. And I'm on board for it. He sent me the face palm. But guys, I mean, Jake Browning, look what he's done now. You're gonna say he can't do that? Let's go. I was searching for things to talk about on the pod tonight at work today. And there is a headline, and I sent this to 2 group chats that I'm in. One with Andy and Joe, and the other with Mike and Key. The headline reads, Jake Browning joins elite company as the only quarterback to post 70+ percentage and 95+ ratings in first 3 starts. So I'm like, oh, here we go. Because, I already did the Mount Rushmore, how he outplayed Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Aaron Rodgers all in their first game. I should do one after this game coming up about how his first 4 games compare to others. But back to the headline. Jake Browning joins elite company as the only quarterback to post 70 plus percentage and 95 plus ratings in first 3 starts. You know who this elite company is? Chad Pennington. Exactly. Chad Pennington. You guys, like, I was, like, so excited. I was like, "Oh, who is this gonna be? This has to be tough." They're saying my boy Jake Browning joined Chad Pennington. Oh, no. So what we got next week? I'll be back. I'll give you guys a parlay, I guess, but I'm pretty sure I'm 0 for 11 at this point, so, I mean, I'm hoping you guys aren't, like, pawning wedding rings and stuff to make my parlays, but I'll bring you one. I'll bring you one. We gotta hit one. This has gotta be it. This game's pretty cool. You got LSU guys reunited, arguably, you know, 2 of the best 5 receivers in the NFL. I, uh, I've been I'm on a little I'm on a new bandwagon, and Mike turned me on to this, and then I have been on it now for about a week or so. I think and I'll get back to the game, but here's something non-Bengals related that I've been now on board with this. Tyreek Hill, I think, is MVP. I think that we have such a tradition of the MVP has to be a quarterback. But this season, I don't think there's been a quarterback that has been like lights out. And Brock Purdy, if that's who you're going to use, Brock Purdy has been it's almost like the game against the Colts this last Sunday. Some of those most of those passing yards are on just screens. But when you got Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, like you can make those little dump passes. You can make a 5-yard pass that turns into a 20-yard gain. And that's happened a lot with him. So I'm not going to say it's a padded set. Look, Brock Purdy is playing great ball. And in my opinion, Super Bowl favorites by far. So, yeah, you could say he's the MVP, and that's fine. If that's your guy, I respect it, but I politely disagree. Same with Dak. Dak has had games that I don't think MVPs have. And I saw Ocho and Shannon Sharp talking about this yesterday about how important Tyreek Hill is to that team. Like when he went down, that team went down. And Tyreek Hill is playing it's every game he's over 100, just killing it. So when I when I say uh this week features 2 of the top 5 receivers in the NFL, as much as I'm on the Jamar bandwagon. I'm a Bengals fan, obviously. But you gotta admit, Tyreek Hill, he's the guy. It's his league right now as far as receivers. So, that being said, and like I said, I do think Tyreek Hill should be MVP. He gets my vote, which means absolutely nothing, but hey, I gotta make some kind of conversation on here, right? So, yeah, you got that, but the most interesting most interesting story of this game is Jake Browning was just playing for the Vikings practice squad too, and they let him walk. And now You have a shootout between Bengals backup quarterback, Jake Browning, and Vikings way backup, Nick Mullins. This is one for the ages, folks. Browning versus Mullins. Rumble in the jungle. There should be T-shirts made. Can you imagine? Like little boxing T-shirts of Jake Browning and Nick Mullins. I don't know. I'd buy one for sure. That's gonna be if I can. I think I know it. I'm gonna be. That's definitely the name of the next the preview podcast. And I gotta find someone that can make that design for me. So I'll be on the lookout. Yep. Talked about my parlay not hitting. They never do, but we'll have one for you. And last episode was the last episode where I talked about top 5 quarterbacks Bengals history. I don't have a backdrop still. Don't have one. But I've been buying stuff that I will have a backdrop and it's going to be cool. Like I have a theme going for it. And so I've been like buying past Bengals memorabilia. And I noticed like on some of these like auction pages and like eBay and like Bengals memorabilia pages, how cheap, and this is so weird to me, how cheap AJ Green stuff is on there. Like, I truly, truly think people forget, Bengals fans especially, you forget how great AJ Green was. I think he's number 2 all-time Bengals leading receiver behind Ocho. And if he would have stayed in Cincinnati and not gone to Phoenix, arguably would have taken over top receiving in Bengals history. And it's just so funny because he played 9 years, like all recent years. And people forget just how good he was. Arguably, I think it was always him and Julio Jones were like the top 2 receivers there for like 2 or 3 years. Like just absolute stud. I looked it up. It was 9 years in Cincy. In those 9 years, 9,430 receiving yards and 65 touchdowns. And I don't wanna say that it was like he just went to a Cardinals team where he wasn't the man anymore, and it was those years. And I wish like hell that we could have had him, especially that Super Bowl year. Like, it was like it was so cool too on his part, like, he didn't even do, like, Instagram or any of that, and he either came back on or no, I think he came back on after a few years just to wish the Bengals good luck in the Super Bowl. And man, he was like I mean, he made Dalton, and Dalton had a great, Dalton had a good career with the Bengals. And I even saw some people calling to get Dalton back when all this stuff was like, "Hey, hey, guys, stop." But that was just on my mind. I really, truly think that people forget how great AJ Green was because I see stuff and his merchandise, like his autograph stuff, is like cheaper than it should be. Like he arguably, I mean, not arguably, he's top 5 Bengals receiver of all time. And just how quick people forgot how good he was. So, yeah, maybe next week I'll do a top 5 Bengals receivers, in my opinion. You know, I mean, we all know that huge TJ guy. No one beats Hoosh, even if he did go to Baltimore. But he didn't go directly to Baltimore, so we give him that pass. So, guys, that's it. Oh yeah, I'm wearing my DGen University shirt. Thank you, Sports Gambling Podcast, for having me on and for the cool shirt. Guys, check them out. But yeah, that's it for me this week. I'll be back later on this week with a little preview. And I got to find a Photoshop guy because that's for sure going to be the title of the next podcast. And I got to think of one for this podcast. So, all right, guys, as always, be safe this week. And from me to you,